Welcome to the Talking Poem Podcast. I'm your host, Charlie Green. I usually don't post back-to-back short solo episodes, but the regular episode this week is probably going to be a day late due to a scheduling issue. And also, more importantly, there was a world event that I just wanted to briefly talk about. A former U.S. military member immolated himself in front of the Israeli embassy to protest the ongoing genocide in Gaza. And it's a terrifying and powerful form of protest, one that has a long history. It reminds me of just how much we owe to each other and we owe to people in need. And I just wanted to give a brief tribute by sharing in a moment a poem that I feel like honors what Bushnell did. Before he lit himself on fire, he posted a Twitch link, and it had the caption, "Many of us like to ask ourselves, what would I do if I was alive during slavery, or the Jim Crow South, or apartheid? What would I do if my country was committing genocide? The answer is, you're doing it right now." And then when the video begins, he records himself saying, "I will no longer be complicit in genocide. I am about to engage in an extreme act of protest. But compared to what people have been experiencing in Palestine at the hands of their colonizers, it's not extreme at all. This is what our ruling class has decided will be normal." And then he exclaims, "Free Palestine," and lights himself on fire and screams, "Free Palestine." It's a terrifying kind of moment, the sort of protest that requires the human empathy and courage that we really don't see a lot of in the world, and it's very hard to muster. It's an enormous human challenge to muster. It's one of the reasons why the image of the Buddhist monk immolating himself in Vietnam during the Vietnam War, I think, sticks with any of us who've seen that image. And I just wanted to give a brief tribute in the form of reading the poem Prometheus by Lord Byron, which feels to me like a fantastic tribute to Bushnell. I'm not going to talk about the poem. I'm just going to read it and then sign off. Prometheus. Titan, to whose immortal eyes the sufferings of mortality, seen in their sad reality, were not as things that gods despise. What was thy pity's recompense? A silent suffering and intense. The rock, the vulture, and the chain, all that the proud can feel of pain, the agony they do not show, the suffocating sense of woe, which speaks but in its loneliness, and then is jealous lest the sky should have a listener, nor will sigh until its voice is echoless. Titan, to thee the strife was given between the suffering and the will, which torture where they cannot kill, and the inexorable heaven, and the deaf tyranny of fate, the ruling principle of hate, which for its pleasure doth create the things it may annihilate, refused thee even the boon to die. The wretched gift eternity was thine, and thou hast borne it well. All that the thunderer wrung from thee was but the menace which flung back on him the torments of thy rack. The fate thou didst so well foresee, but would not to appease him tell. And in thy silence was his sentence, and in his soul a vain repentance, an evil dread so ill dissembled, that in his hands the lightnings trembled. Thy godlike crime was to be kind, to render with thy precepts less the sum of human wretchedness, and strengthen man with his own mind. But baffled as thou wert from high, still in thy patient energy, in the endurance and repulse of thine impenetrable spirit, which heaven and earth could not convulse, a mighty lesson we inherit. Thou art a symbol and a sign to mortals of their fate and force. Like thee, man is in part divine, a troubled stream from a pure source, and man in portions can foresee his own funereal destiny, his wretchedness, and his resistance, and his sad, unallied existence, to which his spirit may oppose itself, and equal to all woes, and a firm will, and a deep sense, which even in torture can descry its own concentered recompense, triumphant where it dares defy, and making death a victory. And so my hope is that that is what Aaron Bushnell's sacrifice does, that it's triumphant where it dares defy and makes of his death a victory. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a great day. Go pet some dogs, read some poems, and support striking workers wherever you find them. Bye.